Motorcycle accidents, heart attacks, murders, HIV. The news media is filled with these examples of these diseases or incidents. They are shocking, sad, and in many cases, deadly. But that is the fate of humans, to die. Our death is hard to imagine. Most people do all they can do to stay healthy and avoid death, but still, death is our reality. According to the Bioethics Research Lab study published in 2022, 7,425 people around the world die each hour, and 120 people die each minute. These statistics are hard to wrap our mind around, that so many people will be with us one minute and gone the next. People often dread death, but what about those who embrace it? Today I want to talk to you about a person's rights to take his own life when he has been diagnosed with a terminal illness. I want to talk to you about death with dignity and why Georgia should pass a law that allows terminally ill patients to end their life. As a Georgia citizen, it is my belief that our state needs to pass legislation that allows a person to choose death with dignity. We would all like to imagine death coming when we have reached old age and accomplished all of our goals. A peaceful death, an expected death. Sadly, that is not always the case. Oftentimes, people are diagnosed with a deadly disease such as cancer or neurological diseases that have no cure and result in death. With death approaching, sometimes painfully, these people may ponder how they want to spend their final days. They may want to avoid suffering and putting their families through emotional and physical struggle that will surely come. In this case, the person may want to choose a way to end his life before the suffering begins. Why should we deny them that choice? Currently, there are 11 states that recognize a person's right to die. The Compassion and Choices website published information in 2022 that listed these states. States such as Oregon, Vermont, California, and Hawaii made the list. Notably, Georgia did not. In fact, author Jessica Gillespie tells us in her article posted on March 18, 2022, Georgia lawmakers introduced a Death with Dignity bill for the first time in 2020. The bill, called the Death with Dignity Act, Senate Bill 291, died in the Senate Health and Human Service Committee without ever receiving a hearing. Why is our state so reluctant to give people a sense of peace when they are facing pain and torment? The state's hesitation may stem from misinformation, ethical considerations, or plain ignorance. To better understand this decision, let's look at some of the basic principles. Ella Watch, a member of the Death with Dignity organization, defines this term as a group on the group website in 2022 as an end-of-life option that allows certain eligible individuals to legally request and obtain medication from their physician to end their life in a peaceful, humane, and dignified manner. 3 words stand out to me in this: peaceful, humane, and dignified. These are qualities that each of us desire for our final days. Facing a life-ending diagnosis may surely fill a person with dread. It is true that there are some things worse than death. If a person can decide when the suffering has become too much to bear, well, that is freedom, that is grace. And it's not just the patients who benefit from this process. The families and friends who have loved them and support them benefit as well. On October 19, 2022, the Ontario HIV Treatment Network released its findings regarding loved ones in the process. The study showed loved ones felt that their grief was eased by knowing a family member had a sense of control over the dying process and that the loved one had been able to avoid prolonged suffering. Medical assistance in dying also allowed for planning in terms of rituals, deciding who would be present at the death, and preparing how to say goodbye at the moment of death. This report shows how family and friends benefit from the preparation that comes with greenlighting Death with Dignity acts. These families can be a part of the planning process and be comforted knowing that their loved one is in control of their final moment. Opponents of these laws worry that individuals in health crisis may be taken advantage of by greedy family members or rogue physicians, but that's simply not the case. In the states that have enacted right-to-die legislations, specific guidelines are in place. The state of California, for example, has set forth specific criteria. The UCLA Health Organization published its regulations in 2022. These guidelines state that a person must be 18 years or older and a resident of California, have terminal disease that cannot be cured or reversed and that is expected to result in death within 6 months, have the capacity to make medical decisions and not have impaired judgment due to a mental disorder, and lastly, have the physical ability to take and ingest the drug. As you can see, safeguards have been put in place to make sure patients are not being abused. Additionally, these patients and their families must receive counseling regarding the end-of-life options and mental health screenings. In case you're thinking that the government never gets involved in the life or death matter of this nature, that is not true. For years, state governments, including Georgia, have recognized an individual's rights regarding death. A quick look at this state planning on World's Law website defines do not resuscitate orders. As the name implies, DNRs tell doctors not to resuscitate a patient under certain or any conditions. Once a doctor writes a DNR order upon your request, no one can override it, not even family members. DNR orders effectively state that life-giving measures cannot be taken by a doctor. The person is choosing not to live. Another issue involving medicine, law, and death is religious refusal. Religious refusal occurs when people reject medical treatment based on their religion. Christopher Starr commented on his decision in his article in 2015. The article is directed to medical professionals, but it helps us understand the legality of the religious refusal. In the article, Starr states, simply put, if the adult under your care is mentally competent and refuses a treatment, including blood transfusion, surgery, or standard medical care based on religious or cultural beliefs, the law generally grants this right of choice, even if the consequences of refusal are dire. Georgia and other states are not strangers to a person choosing death when it meets their needs, whether those needs are religious, emotional, or physical. In the time that it has taken me to give this speech, approximately 700 people have died. That's right, in 6 minutes or so, that many people have died, leaving their jobs, their families, and their lives. Some of these people died tragically, others died from old age, but some died after months and months of suffering. And if given the choice, these people may have decided to take a medicine that would give them some control and let them pass peacefully in their sleep. Georgia needs to pass the law regarding death with dignity for those suffering with terminal illnesses. Death with dignity is peaceful for patients, better for caretakers. It cannot be entered into carelessly because of numerous safeguards attached to it, and our state already recognizes DNR orders and religious refusal decisions. When this bill once again makes its way to our legislators' desk, as it surely will, we should all raise our voice to strongly encourage them to vote yes. Georgia needs the death with dignity laws. Thank you.